Welcome back to the channel. We've now had the e208 for 2 years and done 50,000 miles, and I just wanted to do a brief review of how we've got on over those 2 years. So sorry if you can hear the noise. It is raining, unfortunately. We are in North Devon, and on the one day I want to film this and it is chucking it down with rain. So a brief history before I start. This is actually car number 2. Ordered the first car in 2019, December 2019 on the pre-orders. We got the car 2020 in February. Now, some of you may know, some of you may not know, there were issues with the 208 GTs. They didn't come quite as people expected. They didn't have the adaptive cruise. Mine was one of the cars that didn't come with it, and that was the one feature I really wanted. I wanted fast charging, but I really wanted adaptive cruise, which a lot of the manufacturers wasn't doing at the time. So I wanted that feature for the amount of miles I'm doing. We decided to order a second car to replace it. So obviously lockdown happened, and we didn't get, the second car didn't arrive until the November, December time. So the first car I did about 15,000 miles. This car I've done almost 35,000 miles. So 50,000 miles in total of the 2 cars. And it's now February 2022. So we're 2 years on, 2 cars, 50,000 miles. So I just want to go over what's happened with the 2 cars, what problems we've had, servicing, that sort of thing. So in car number 1, we had the charger issues. We were having charging problems, and eventually Peugeot put a new charger in. That was really the only issue we had with the first one, and by the time ours was changed, they'd already brought out a modified charger. So for people that were having problems, they were fully aware of it, and there was a modified charger to replace them. So that was all dealt with through warranty, not a problem. It was a bit of a pain having to go through all the issues of plugging it in, not charging, having system traction, battery fault warning lights popping up on the dash. Once you knew how to deal with that, it's not as big a drama as you first think. This car we haven't had any major problems with. The charger's been absolutely fine. We've not had no errors with that at all. So that's been really good. It's actually had 3 services in the 35,000 miles we've done. So the first service is after a year or 8,000 miles. The second service is then every 16,000 miles or 2 years. So you do 8,000, then you do 16,000, then you do 32,000. So it's every 1 year, then every 2 years after that. It's a little bit complicated having that third service, because you do 8,000, then another 8,000, and then 16,000, if that makes sense. The first service is a brief inspection, that's all it is. The second service is an inspection and a pollen filter. At 2 years, they recommend you have the brake fluid changed, so that is servicing. We haven't had any big problems like we had with the first one with the charger. We've had a couple of software issues with the navigation, which have been sorted out with updates, which we've done ourselves, so that's no big deal. The only problem we've had is just recently was with the headlights. Normally when you get in the car, you switch it on, the headlights dip down and come back up again. Ours stopped doing that when you started it up, and I noticed while you were driving along, if you slowed down below 15 mile an hour, the first time you did that, it would dip them then, which is a bit odd. Now, I know other people have had this issue, and Peugeot have done a recalibration of the headlights, and that has solved their problems. In our case, it actually made it worse, and then one headlight started dipping and not the other, and all sorts of problems. It went back to Peugeot, and they changed the headlight ECU. That has sorted that problem out. So no real big issues to speak of, just charger in the first one, which was sorted, and that seems to have only really affected early production cars. So he seemed to have sorted that out now. The only thing I'm slightly annoyed about is tyre wear. Now, every time I've had a service, so every time I've done a 16,000 mile service, I've had to have new tyres. They're not lasting very long at all. Yes, it is a heavier car, and they are quite a small, narrow tyre, so the contact area to the road is quite small, which I presume is why they're not lasting very long. But that was quite a shock. I knew they wouldn't last as long as an ICE car, I knew that, but I was expecting a little bit more than 16,000 miles. So the tyres you get on a new e208 are Michelin Primacy 4s, I think, which have a rating, I think, of an A and a B. I put some Hankooks on it, which were cheaper than the Michelins, but aren't a cheap tyre. And they had a rating of an A and an A, which is really good, and they were slightly quieter. They did sound slightly quieter. I'll be honest, this time I've gone for the cheapest ones I could, and even those were £200 for a set of 4, and they are a C and a C and slightly noisy, so I'm going to see how they go. I'm really pleased with them. I don't desperately see the need now for more expensive tyres, not at the mileage I'm doing. So we've talked about servicing, we've talked about tyres, we've talked about the few problems we've had. All in all, it's been really good. We've done 95% of the charging is done at home, with the occasional charging near work I've been able to do if I can. We have done some road trips and used rapid chargers, and again, there's not really been many problems with that either. I've been to visit parents, so 300 mile each way. Not really any major problems. There are more rapid chargers appearing on the motorways, more and more. Every time you go, there are new services, new chargers. So that's all coming along. So that's the car. The Peugeot app, over 2 years, hasn't got a lot better, to be honest. It wasn't the best to start with. I'll be honest, I only use it for setting the preconditioning. That's all I use it for. The servicing intervals in the app are wrong and have been since day one for electric cars. The My Journeys page doesn't collect all the data. Your phone has to be connected to the car every time you do a journey for it to work properly. So if for whatever reason you don't connect the car via Bluetooth to the phone, it doesn't record it. It doesn't seem to download any historical data at all. So I found a really good app or really good website called Tronity, and you can use that. That collects all the data your car transmits. So you get to see trips, you get to see charging, you get to see charging speed, you get to see temperature, all sorts, and they're adding more and more info all the time. If you use the link in the description, then you get an extra 2 weeks, so you get a 4-week free trial. Give it a go, it is really good. If you like your data, you get so much more data than what you do from Peugeot. So a couple of things before I go. Ripple Energy are doing a wind turbine cooperative, so you can own a share of a wind turbine. If you check out my link below, you can get a £25 credit on the account if you sign up. So you can own a share of a wind turbine, which is pretty cool, and it will give you credits on your electricity bill. Octopus Energy, if you're getting an EV, thinking about getting an EV, have a smart meter. If you're wanting to change to a cheaper tariff in these mental times of electricity prices, check out Octopus Energy. Again, links in the show notes below, and get a £50 credit on your electricity bill just for swapping to Octopus. And they're doing some really good innovative tariffs, which no one else seems to be really doing. So as I originally said, this was only a brief video, just a 2-year update of how things have been going, because I haven't really done an update video at all. I meant to do one a year but didn't get around to it. So if you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button and consider subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.